What's up, internet friends? Welcome back. We got more learning for you. I am your host, Justin Dower of Spectrum Real Estate Consultants team, Keller Williams, here with another segment, episode number 3 in our third segment regarding effective communication in the real estate market. This one is regarding communicating with your inspectors and appraisers, scheduling, what to say, what not to say during the inspections and appraisals, et cetera, et cetera. Now, understand that preparation is key for these appointments. Let's take your inspection first. We want to eliminate question marks from the inspector's mind and the buyer's mind. That means at least access, among other things. We can't have your attic staircase not working. We can't have the scuttle to your attic if a staircase isn't there, completely blocked off. It's in a closet, your closet's chock full, and you just can't get up there. Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Inspector, you're just not gonna be able to get up there. Understand that you, your buyer, your buyer's agent, and the inspector are all present for this appointment. It's up to you to provide access to your entire home to make sure that this inspector, who is paid to do an extremely thorough investigation of this home, is able to conduct his job accordingly to eliminate the question marks from the buyer's mind. If complete whole chunks of your home are not available to be accessed by this inspector, all it's going to do is leave question marks in the buyer's mind. That's going to extend the length of time it takes to eventually get across that finish line. Now, talking about extremely thorough, again, this inspector is paid to do his job or her job. It is not a personal attack on you or your diligence in maintaining your home if this inspector were to find something that either A, you are unaware of, or B, maybe you let slide because you just didn't have the time to keep it up. Allowing access to all the major systems of your home is very important too. Just because the basement door is available to the inspector, but the burner or the hot water tank is just completely clouded by boxes that the inspector can't move through to look at these building systems is going to cause the same thing. Now, again, when they're looking through your home, if they were to find, let's say, termites present in the wooden infrastructure or certain other wood-destroying insects downstairs or anywhere else in the home, it is not a reflection on you. It is, yes, a major defect and can be very deleterious to the successful closing of the sale of your home. But for now, it's just an observation. Similarly, if they were to find that the roof has not been maintained properly and there's a couple of leaks around the flashing of the chimney or this or that, it's not a personal attack, and you must fight the very dramatic, in some cases, urge to explain why you just missed this problem, or explain why it hadn't been taken care of, or explain why it isn't a problem. Again, these are just observations, and at least on the part of the inspector, it's their job to observe as much as humanly possible. Should you start to see some body language from the buyer or the buyer's agent that this is an insurmountable problem, again, resist the urge to try to hash it out right away. You're going to get an opportunity to do that at a later date once the buyer has been issued the inspection report and had a chance to thoroughly digest it and come back to you with some requests for either repair or credits. Now, as to those buyers' agents who I would greatly prefer are at these appointments, we talked earlier in other segments and episodes about how important buyers' agents are and why they deserve their compensation. Expectations are everything here, especially in the inspections. Many buyers are uninitiated when it comes to building systems and construction and costs of how much they might have to lay out or you would have to lay out in repairing some of these items. So if they get uptight and scared because something is observed, understand that if you are alone as a buyer, it's going to be up to you as a seller later on, not while they're in your home, to get quotes from contractors or service professionals of whatever kind and issue those quotes to the buyer to kind of help calm them down, to understand that this isn't some sort of giant money pit that your home is still wonderful and they should still buy it. Your buyer's agents do that well ahead of them ever arriving to your home or any other home if they are worth their salt, these buyer's agents. We want to educate buyers as real estate professionals on building systems, infrastructure, construction, and even if we're not able to do that, we can be the source of calm and reason when it comes to getting them quotes from contractors and service professionals to fix these problems, so they don't lose their minds and think that this home is just an endless money suck and it's not worth buying. But if they don't have that buyer's agent, it is up to you, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, to do that. And furthermore, since you don't need no stinking realtor to sell your home, you're going to have to do the same thing for you because, maybe you aren't as familiar as you could be with building systems and how much it might cost. And let's say we have found termites up in the attic and they're just destroying the infrastructure and your roof might be caving in or whatever the case may be. Your buyer is probably going to ask for an arm and a leg. You need to make sure you have a frame of reference from which to base what is reasonable in terms of offering a credit, a money credit, like, hey, I'll take XYZ amount of dollars off the price of the sale of the house to compensate you for fixing this in your own time. Or if you think for whatever reason in your research as a seller in correcting these issues, you can get it done more cheaply than the buyer feels that they are able to, you can endeavor to fix this problem and consummate the sale of the property thereafter. Daunting, yes, but today we're not touching fully on that. We're just going through communication. So you understand now how to prepare and how to keep yourself calm and reasonable during the inspection process. Appraisals, on the other hand, lucky you, usually are attended only by yourself and the appraiser, the buyer, and the buyer's agent typically are not there. If they are getting lending from a bank and they're not a cash buyer, there will be an appraisal. Appraisals are not all created equally. Appraisals for a conventional loan product will be different from an FHA or some others. They all have their own guidelines and requirements. But all appraisals are common insofar as they are there, the appraisers, to determine what the bank or what the appraiser, is telling the bank is the value of your home. Is it the agreed upon sales price that you and the buyer agreed to sell the house at, or is it some lesser or higher price? And these things matter, and it's up to you because you don't need no stinking realtor to make the appraiser understand why you and the buyer think the home is worth what you agreed to pay for it. So this involves taking the comparable analysis that you created, which I believe we touched on in segment 1, and giving it to the appraiser. You want this appraiser to have the same information you had when you came to what your list price was, and certainly what the agreed price is for the sale of the house. Pointing out major improvements to the home, new heating system, you just replaced the central air conditioning, the roof has just been replaced 2 years ago. These things are of great value. Pointing out specific items of great value in comparison to some of the comps you use, like, hey, here's an identical home to mine that sold for XYZ price. It was a little bit lower, but I've got a pool, or you name it. This will help the appraiser make the determination in your favor, and we need that to happen or it will complicate the sale. FHA appraisers, on the other hand, are there to do that value appraisal, as I just described, but also there is a limited safety inspection where they're going to look for, peeling paint on the exterior of the home anywhere, even on the outbuildings, garages, and sheds and things like that. They're going to look for safety items like handrails and staircases and discharge spouts on hot water heaters. These sorts of things are involved in the appraisal for FHA as well, and it's up to you to do that research. We're going to help you out in another segment when it comes to talk more deeply about appraisals. We'll get to that later on, but understand this is another big step in your buyer's journey towards getting their loan, and the inspection, the appraisal, and everything else needs to happen in a timely manner. The clock is ticking, especially when your buyer has financing in place. There's most likely a rate lock involved in this buyer's pre-approval, and if we take too long getting past these thresholds, it would risk the buyer being able to get their loan and you eventually conducting your sale. Also understand that during those inspections, at least here in Rhode Island and in many other places around the U.S., the buyer is allowed unfettered access to your home for any inspection, whatever inspection they choose, as many inspections as they choose, for a period of 10 business days. It is crucially important that you don't start to get annoyed or upset that this buyer is requesting access to your home beyond just the initial inspection, especially in the case where they may not have had access to this or that portion of your home for whatever reason. Asking to come back for a re-inspection of whatever the case, asking to come back to have a contractor look at some of the findings from the inspection report to judge the cost of repair. All of these things are above board and you want them to happen. Now, wanting them to happen and getting them scheduled to happen in a timely manner is the entire crux of the biscuit here. It's got to happen quickly. It's got to happen seamlessly. You've got to be prepared. And getting it all done is going to get you closer to that finish line more quickly, which is the goal. So I hope we've handled effective communication with inspectors, appraisers, buyers, and the buyer's agents during the inspection and the appraisal. If you like this content and you're finding alpha, don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And please, if you've got questions of any kind, I have all the answers, right? We know that already. We'll be back in the next episode where we are going to look at communication during offer negotiations. See you there.